Two news stories that I found involving online job scams, excuse me. This News 3 Memphis, Tennessee news station covered this story of Simi Ray Dinkins. He was a 2014 graduate of LeMoyne-Owen College. Upon graduation, he had been flooded with emails in his inbox of several types of scams. Mystery shopping scams where you're hired to supposedly go out to test the way that a company delivers their services, assembling crafts at home, medical billing from home, rebate processing from home. He would even get offers for entry level jobs starting at $75,000 for companies you couldn't even find their name on Google. Dinkin didn't fall for these schemes though, but he warns others, quote, if I can't go and shake your hand and sit down with you for an interview, then it's probably not a safe way to apply for a job. Back in 2014, WBNS TV in Columbus, Ohio discovered that a state website that's supposed to put people back to work was actually putting job seekers in touch with scammers. From the news article, Penny Shoemaker used the state website called Ohio Means Jobs to look for a job. She said the state required it to get unemployment benefits. Penny thought her job search had finally paid off when a company gave her an online interview, then offered her a job. But there was a catch. It turned out to be a work at home project where they sent her checks to purchase items. The company sent her a check for $3,300. It told her to deposit it and then immediately spend her own money to buy equipment from one of its distributors. That's when she knew the company was bogus. And it wasn't the only bad offer. Another company offering jobs on the same state website also sent her a check that also seemed to be phony. Shoemaker said since then she has called the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services and they've been monitoring the site and removing any job listings. But despite all these stories, please know there are some great job searching websites and resources out there. Here at Berkeley College, the librarians have created this LibGuide. It's the Career Management Seminar LibGuide that has a link to websites where there's a great list of website resources for job searching. We also have a LibGuide called Career Resources, brought to you by the Career Services Department here at Berkeley College. Here also we have some great job websites and different resources for you that we all know to be legitimate. Finally, in Blackboard under the Community tab, you'll find the Career Services section, which has a link where you can build your own resume and apply for jobs at CareerZone. There's so many great links, so many great job boards and job search aggregators that exist today, many which I showed you above, but keep in mind that even with anything out there, you always have to evaluate the information on the web in order to be a smart and informed job seeker. Just as you were going to um, evaluate a website for its credibility, you have to do the same thing when you're searching for a job. So today we're going to discuss that, just how to avoid some of those scams. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So, why I said before, anyone can make a website these days, and it's no surprise that the world of scams has reached recruitment sites, and unfortunately, job seekers can be targets to those job scams. So, here are some steps to avoid job scams. Number one, be on the lookout for fake sites or postings. Number two, when they're asking for too much personal information. Number three, fees, asking for credit card information. Number four, communication methods. Get to that in a minute. Number five, an unsecure URL link. Number six, very little or no company info is out there. Number seven, promises. So number one, fake slide or job postings, fake site or job postings. So the job ad may promise something that is just too good to be true, like a very high paying work from home job. But one way to know if it's fake is look at the URL or the link where it's taking you. And of course, asking for any kind of registration or paying any kind of fee is a red flag. That may alert you that a job posting may be untrustworthy. You also want to take a look at that site and also type in the word scam or scheme and see if anybody else there has posted about this fake job site to beware of it. Next, asking for too much personal information. If a website asks you to pay an upfront fee for a background check, a deposit, or a credit score, that's a really big red flag, especially when you're not even hired by the company yet. Fees, credit card info, like I said, never ever, should never have to pay to apply for a job. Also beware if the prospective employer is unwilling or to meet in person or talk on the phone or even to have a virtual conversation. If they only want to commute via email, that's also a red flag. Also beware if the employment application asks you to fill in personal information that does not supply a secure HTTPS connection in the URL. So take a very close look at where you are when you're applying for a position. And sorry, company information. Um, like they're not giving out who they are. They're basically calling themselves something, and then you go to Google them and find them, and you can't find their information. That's a big red flag. Promises. You're promised a job before you even have an interview. You're hired. That's a little bit too good to be true, isn't it? You will see that as a big red flag. And finally, those job recruiter phone scams. So now you have these recruiters out there that are picking up your information from these websites, and they're going to call you and say, you're an ideal candidate for this job. But first, we need the last four digits of your social security number or other personal information to continue forward with the application process. Or they may ask you to fill out a fake resume online. Be sure to ask for the person's name, Google them, get their email, and see also if they have a LinkedIn profile if they look professional, also their name and job scam. Try to find if there's anything else you can find out about that person who called you and where they're really calling from. So be mindful of those job recruiters. There are some really good and legitimate ones out there, but many of them are paid by commission only, and they're contracted out by an employer, and the only way they get paid, this is their only way to get paid, is if the person, you, is hired. And they usually have to work for the company for 6 months or more for that recruiter to get their commission. They may also anticipate jobs that are not even open by the company yet. And they may come out and call you up and say, we have this job, even though it's not really a job. This in turn can pose desperation on their part because they're anticipating the employer at some point needing to fill a job, but there really is no job. And they must fulfill and get a certain number of potential job candidates on their quota list for that week. So be in mind, also be careful that job recruiters aren't recruiting you to be a job recruiter unless that's a field and that's something that you want to get into. So before we finish, let's just take a look at just the simple job search I did in Indeed.com, which is a job search aggregator. I typed in sales manager in Woodbridge, New Jersey, and several results showed up. And one particularly caught my attention. It was for a territory manager at Evergreen Enterprises, $50,000 to $80,000 a year. Wow, that sounds great. Business to business sales experience. And I just graduated Berkeley with my business degree, so this sounds like a great opportunity. However, when I went to Google the name of the company, there was no company to be found. There were only links to other job descriptions with that same name, Evergreen Enterprises. So who is this Evergreen Enterprises? Are they really a company? Are they a third-party company? So I would definitely call that a red flag. So just another reminder, as I mentioned before, it's really important to look at the URL on anything that you click when applying to jobs. There are many phishing websites out there. Phishing websites are websites that have a similar look and feel to a website you're used to seeing, but in fact, they created something to look like a website, but they're really taking you somewhere else, and they're going to get inside your computer, cause a virus, or they might also grab all of your personal information. So when you're finished with this webinar and your free time, I'd like you to test yourself. How scam proof are you? And there's a link right there. It's a little bit of a long link, and since you can't click on it, what you can do is you can Google how scam proof are you, and you can take the quiz yourself. So thank you everybody for listening in. As a reminder, here are some red flags to remember when avoiding job scams. Be on the lookout for fake sites or postings when an employer is asking, and a potential employer is asking for too much personal information, asking for fees or credit card information. Their communication methods, how are they reaching you? Are they coming to reach you? Did you apply first and then they're calling you? Also, if there's an unsecure URL, that's a red flag, or very little or no company information, or promises. We promise you'll make X amount by this date. Be very wary of all these red flags. So in conclusion, when it comes to job searching online, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So keep that in mind when you're job searching online. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Job Searching Online, How to Spot Scams and Schemes.